Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. I'm Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Dr. Howe, zooming in from Newport Beach. Dr. Howe is a general OBGYN physician with a switch to an emphasis in menopause, menstrual disorders, and high-risk pregnancy. She is UCLA trained and now in private practice. Dr. Howe is a board-certified obstetrician, completed medical school and residency at UCLA and David Geffen School of Medicine. Dr. Howe excelled in medical school at UCLA, where she was awarded many scholarships and awards, such as the Stafford Warren, Melankoff, Carol Birch, and Hillel Medical Scholar Awards. She served on the admissions committee and the doctoring training courses. She began to develop her political advocacy skills and was a director of the 2000 UCLA Healthcare Symposium, which sought to bring awareness and understanding for the need of healthcare reform. Dr. Howe completed 4 years of residency at UCLA, where she was involved in research and authored many journal articles and book chapters in gynecology, oncology, and chronic pelvic pain. She was given the Senior Resident Research Project Award and the Chief Resident Teaching Award. She completed a mission to Eritrea, Africa, to provide advanced vaginal surgery. Dr. Howe completed an externship in Guadalajara, Mexico, and worked in many clinics serving the Latino community and is proficient in Spanish. Welcome, Dr. Howe.
Thank you. That was really kind. Thank you. And thanks for thinking about me and having me on your podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. It's an honor to have you here. You're from the Orange County community. You're involved. And so, we want to talk about your story and how you got here, how you decided to be a physician, and all the wonderful things that you've done.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. You decided that you wanted to be a physician early on. How did that come about? When did you figure that out? And then tell us your path.
Well, my mother was 15 when I was born, so I feel like my life started with deep meaning. There were a lot of options that she could have gone in many ways with that, adoption, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew up with her, I felt so grateful that she carried through with it, me, kept me, and I learned so much resilience from her. And then as I thought about what would I do with my life, I always had so much gratitude, and I wanted to be able to make a deeper purpose of it all and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's through medicine. I feel not only do I get to help people, which is the best, and it really keeps me on my toes and it keeps me learning. So it's sort of a selfish fulfillment, but yet it's also a giving back, and it helps me to feel connected to others. And that gives me joy. And so, I as a child thought medicine must be the way to continue to learn, stay connected, and be entertained while you're working instead of maybe being, miserable at something that you do so much of, right? When we work, we put so many hours into it. So it started from a young age. It started even in elementary school. And then, of course, following through and the dedication sort of carried forward. I mean, becoming a physician, as everyone knows, is extremely challenging. I mean, even in high school, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to conquer the world 3 times and get straight A's doing that, right? So that I can get into the best college. And then you're in college and you have to do incredible research and activities and, ace those classes and get into a great medical school. And it keeps going. It's always very demanding and time consuming. But when your heart is in it and when it brings such joy and pleasure, you have purpose, and that's what sort of carried me through, and I think carries most physicians through. I think most people who go into medicine do it because of a deeper calling and love for it, because it's definitely not an easy road. For some of us, like I did, you have student loans, and that takes years to pay off too. But yeah, I was blessed to go to UC Irvine for undergrad, and then was accepted into UCLA. For me, that was a huge honor. It was number
Hmm.
4 in the nation as a medical school at the time, and then they kept me for residency, which was just incredible. I actually thought I was going to be a cardiologist. I loved the heart as a child. I still do, but
Right.
growing up, I thought, how cool is that pump, and
Yeah.
electrical,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
has all
Yeah.
these great things that it does in such a nice confined way, and it's so critical. But when I
Hmm.
was in medical school as a resident or a medical student, excuse me, a professor of mine who was on call one night in the middle of a C-section stopped the residents from delivering the babies and told me to do it. And it was in the
Oh,
haste of a bleeding woman, right? The uterus is open. There's little newborn twins that I have to reach in and grab. I didn't know what I was doing, but he wasn't going to stop. He forced me to do it, actually. And I was
right.
scared, but I reached in and I grabbed whatever I could, and these little tiny 28-week babies came out with their sweet little birdie
Wow.
cries, like little babies.
Yeah.
And it just changed my life. I couldn't believe the feeling and the energy of it all.
Hmm.
And I thought,
Hmm.
oh gosh, I love cardiology, but this is it. I'm going to go
Right.
into obstetrics and gynecology. And that's sort of how that field came to be for me.
No,
Crazy.
that is, I could see that night being a life changer because I mean babies are just an amazing part of life, right? I have 4 children and I was there for all 4 deliveries. They were all vaginal deliveries, but
Mm.
just I remember just remembering as you're telling the story is life, right? Life, a little baby, and then you get to raise him, and then it's just like amazing.
It's so amazing, and it never gets old. I graduated in 2006. Every time today, I just came from the hospital. I just finished a breech C-section,
Hmm.
and every time I see this change from, being in utero to your first breath, that baby's first breath, there's just some
Hmm.
crazy, powerful feeling, this energy that comes across. The families in awe, and they're just overjoyed, right? And
Right? Yeah.
it's all very it's
It's life
powerful.
changing. It's
It's
life
life
changing.
changing.
Giving birth is life changing. I guess for you, you see it as your contribution as a physician. And
Hmm.
then for the mother and the father and the extended family as well, it's a new niece, a new nephew, a new brother, a new sister. It's just so cool.
It's so great that you just said that. My mother married when I was 14, and then by
Hmm.
the time I was 18, she had my brother. And now
Hmm.
he's 30, and he just had a baby in September, second
Hmm.
baby, I should say. Anyway, the point you just said, it's exciting for the whole family.
Yeah.
Seeing my brother have his babies, I'm
Right.
so excited and in love with them. I love being an aunt. And it's been really good for me because as a physician now, I think about not only my patient, but their family too, and how happy they
Yes,
all
yes,
are.
yes, yes. And I say this from the bottom of my heart because I have my mom has 13 nieces and nephews, right? I contributed 4, my other sisters contributed, so a total of 13. Now they're grown up and they're getting married and they're having babies. So it's
Right.
just like the family just continues to expand that way.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and so the work of you guys as a physicians to get that delivery done correctly and safely, and so that the babies are born and moms are okay. It's just yes, it's an amazing position that you have to be able to accomplish that. But not you're not only doing that here locally and that contribution, you've also have done external work, right? Tell us a little bit about that and how that works in other countries.
Oh my gosh. Well, so you mentioned in the beginning, I appreciate you bringing it up, the Eritrea experience that I
Hmm.
had. It was more than I expected as far as eye-opening and really I developed a better understanding about the blessings that we have. I thought I knew I've always had gratitude for our country, our community, our local network here. But when you travel and you see how really how rough it can be, you
Mm-hmm.
don't even realize that this day and age there are people that are minimally have minimal medical support or infrastructure around them, that maybe live a 3-day walk away from a one and only hospital for the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the country. Well, that was my experience in Africa. When I was in Eritrea, I was at the main hospital, but there would be women that would come to us from, like as I said, a village that was days walk away. They don't have cars, you know. So if
Mm-hmm.
they're in labor and they can't successfully deliver in their village, they would have to walk still pregnant, right, to the hospital. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously by the time they would come to the hospital, the majority of the time the babies don't make it. You know, that's a horrible journey to be in labor,
Oh, yeah.
have an unsuccessful attempted a vaginal delivery, have no access to cesarean section. So I saw things like that, that it really changed my vision of what it meant to be alive now in this day and age. You think that shouldn't happen, right? We've expanded our medical ability. There's
Mm-hmm.
access to care. You think that should be the case everywhere, but it's not. And considering this is an Orange County podcast, I just have to say our county, our community, our location is so blessed to have multiple safe hospitals where
Mm-hmm.
women, children can be protected against anything like that. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. I'm just saying it really was mind blowing. In addition, it's not just about delivering babies. We had women come who had never seen a physician for heavy menstrual cycles or tumors growing on their uterus or ovaries, cancers of the vulva. And so we did our best. We were there, for a month. So you can only do so much, but we did so many surgeries trying to cut out cancers and save lives. That was
Wow.
amazing. I think as my children get older, I have an 18 as of just 2 days ago. So an 18-year
Oh,
old and
congratulations.
thank you, and a 20-year-old. Now, as they, sort of go up and out and they do their thing, I may be able to get back to some more international work. I've stayed more focused on my local community, building my private practice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, that was just mind blowing.
Yeah, even maybe just going like once a month, once a year, once a month or something like that. Maybe gathering some of the physicians from the community who want to participate and taking a group out just to do that work. It seems, and it's just so unfair sometimes for these other countries that third world countries that are not developed like ours. And like you said in the beginning when you started talking about this, what we have, we're like on top of the world, and having not seen something like that does not sometimes does not allow us to be as grateful as we should be for what we have,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Traveling to any other country, you'll see that the difference between the United States and any other country, we have everything we could have, and we should all be grateful for that.
It's nice to be reminded because you do. I don't know about complacent is the word, but I think you just don't realize, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many things life is a challenge for everybody, even
For
here.
sure.
So
Yeah.
sometimes you get kind of caught up in your day to day and lose gratitude for things because it's sort of you're in a rut, in a routine. So it is
Mm-hmm.
good, I think, for everyone to be exposed to various situations like that are outside of your norm so that you can
Right.
be sort of regrounded again in your gratitude and the reality that you actually probably have it pretty good, you know. Even in
Even if we
Mexico.
don't think we do, we actually do.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in Mexico, there was a time, so I was in Guadalajara and the medical school there was just fantastic. Spent a couple of months there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time we were rounding in the intensive care unit, and this beautiful young woman, just gorgeous, was laying there, her perfect pristine skin, this long black hair, and her eyes were moving, watching us as we'd walk past her bed, but nothing else, just her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had said to one of the other residents there, I was in med school at this point,
Mm-hmm.
but I said to the resident, "What happened to her? Why is she in the ICU? What's going on?" And he said, she had lived in a village, again, far
Uh-huh.
away from the hospital, that, she had no access to care. She had preeclampsia, this high blood pressure disorder that caused her to have a major stroke. And her family got her
Oh.
to the hospital, but late. And she was what we call locked in, which means she had been paralyzed because of that stroke from the neck down. So she was only able to move
Oh.
her eyes. And that was from pregnancy, a condition of pregnancy. Now, please, I don't want any listeners to be frightened.
Right.
That type of story doesn't happen typically in this community because we have all these prenatal care visits, right? We get
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
see people throughout their journey so we can
Yeah.
identify things like preeclampsia before they get to that degree of
Right, right, right,
seriousness.
right. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, that's the difference between our country, our community, and the rest of the world. And we should be grateful. Like you said, we have many hospitals here in Orange County. I think they can within 5-10 minutes, if you had to go to a hospital, either direction you go, you're going to get there fairly quick.
Yeah, that's right.
And so yeah, so then it must be like you mentioned in the beginning, it must be like so gratifying just to be able to be that person, to be able to touch somebody's life, guide them with the pregnancy or whichever, whatever you're treating them for, and change their world, I guess, in a sense.
Hmm. Yeah, and now I've done extra training in menopause. I'm 49. I feel like, okay, girls, let's do this. As
Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
starting that transition, feeling that creeping in, I've just thought I really wanted to put some more focus into that. So I did extra training, got licensed and certified in menopause care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have had a blast. I've had all these women come to me because I'm now on the sort of national website for menopause licensed certified providers. They find me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's very important, I think, for women to be able to come together through such an incredible change in your life. You go from being a young girl to getting your cycles. That is a hormonal huge difference in the way you
Right.
feel, the way your body is. You go through the years of having accepted that and adjusted to that, then suddenly it goes through a whole new transition.
Right.
And
Right.
it's jolting. The hormone swings are very disruptive. There's palpitations and joint aches, and not just the night sweats and hot flashes people talk about. There's
Mm-hmm.
changes in the way, your libido, your mood, your irritability, our poor spouses, you know,
Right.
you feel like you just don't know yourself anymore
Mm-hmm.
or understand why are you getting headaches, or it goes on and on. Insomnia, then you can't think clearly. You feel like, why did I walk in this room? Am I getting dementia? This brain
Right.
fog, all of that. And to be able to have a provider, a physician who can help to ease that transition and
Mm-hmm.
add back to that hormonal deprivation and maybe
Right. Right. Right.
steady it can really, really remarkably change a woman's projection for the rest of, like, we spend 40% of our life in menopause if we live long enough, God willing.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so you want to transition into that in a way that your health is thought about from the get-go. That so
Mm-hmm.
as you're in your
Mm-hmm.
60s and 70s and beyond, you feel good. You're not struggling with osteoporosis and heart disease and dementia and things that could have been prevented by early hormone therapy or other lifestyle changes. But that we're not born knowing about. It's really wonderful to have someone help you that's been sort of trained and understands the best and latest up to date science behind it. And
Right,
it's
right, right.
evolving, but I'm having
Yeah,
a
that's what
blast.
I was gonna say. Yeah, yeah. The medicine is evolving and changing, and new discoveries. Now, I don't know if AI contributes to that, or how much does that contribute to that? To
Well, I think AI is wonderful at the moment for information gathering and
Mm-hmm.
sort of being at least that superficial companion for
Right.
people.
Right.
Um, Medical research will also, of course, need AI as a powerful magnifier. When you get data, AI can help you expand data, but we
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
need the human experience and the human data more
Right.
than
Right.
anything. There's new medications coming out that aren't hormone based, let's say, for instance, for hot flashes and night sweats.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't be on hormones, so we need better interventions for that sort of
Mm-hmm.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of development. Or what are some natural basic ways to help our body to be as healthy as possible through the transition
Right.
without medication in addition, because there's also alternative healthy ways to go through this aging process for men too, by the way, right? I mean, there's a lot that goes on in our midlife that sets the stage for the later years. Anyway, I love that I can learn more, focus on
Right.
that,
Right.
and
Right.
I
Yes.
hope to guide women through that.
No, that is amazing. Um, Now, so as we get ready to wind down and the interview, what does we're getting ready to finish the year, 2025, 2026 is rolling around the corner. What do you have? What's exciting coming up next year, in the next 6 to 12 months?
Hmm. In my practice, you mean?
In your practice, in your life, what's exciting? You can share anything you want.
Well, you say in my life, I don't know that it's exciting, but it's a definite transition in a sense. I told you that my youngest is 18, so she'll be
Uh-huh.
off to college next fall.
Oh, that's
And
big.
that,
That's a big
right.
transition. Yes.
So I'll be the empty nester with my husband. It'll definitely be a different feeling around this house. But I
Mm-hmm.
do believe that does impact me professionally too, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you have children of all ages up to the point of independence and they've moved out, but from
Mm-hmm.
toddlerhood through high school,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're definitely your responsibilities are pulled in a lot of different directions. But I do
Yes.
believe once, my second's also out of the house, that will help sort of guide a little bit more of my career in the sense of my focus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm still developing that. I have some ideas about sexual health, and I do think maybe developing more of a focus on that and vulvar vaginal pain
Mm-hmm.
is I have a lot going on up here about how to provide a center of care for women that maybe struggle with pain with intercourse
Mm-hmm.
and have libido concerns because it's very common, extremely common. So,
And that can be a game changer for some people.
oh, I mean, it has so much to do with the
Mm-hmm.
relationship health too.
Right. Right.
So yes, I hope that connection makes some sense. I will have that freed up time to be able to develop more of that focus-based clinic
Mm-hmm.
because I won't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily be as divided with caring for a child. And that really is probably
Right.
the next direction where I need to put my energy in and really help women
Wow,
and
that is
their
exciting.
partners.
Yes. Well, you help the women, and it it helps the partners, it helps the relationship. Everybody has a positive effect in it.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. So, Dr. Howe, if somebody is listening and they'd like to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I think our website, because our website has all of, right, our phone number, our address. There's also a way that you can email through the website,
Mm-hmm.
but it's of course, www, and we're HM, that's How Mazaveric, HM Medical, OBGYN.com. So hmmedicalobgyn.com.
Very good. Well, Dr. Howe, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your
Thank you,
story
Dan.
and what you do and your contribution to the community. It's
Thank you.
amazing. And thank you also to our listeners. And if you want to continue to follow us, please go to ocpowerplayers.com and follow us on your favorite channel. Thank you so much, Dr. Howe.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.